My parents are from Ghana originally, and they came here around in their 20s before they had me and my brother. My brother is a junior in college. He's the first to go to college in our family, and I guess I'm following in his footsteps. My name is Hillary Amofa. I'm 18 years old. I'm a senior at Lincoln Park High School, and I'm applying to colleges right now. The biggest thing that I was kind of confused on was with my personal statement, like what I should include in my application, like if I was allowed to talk about certain things, or like if I would be like penalized if I included certain aspects of like my identity in my statement. There's like a feeling of having to like go through like something so horrible to like be like to feel worthy of like going to school or something, like going to college, which is kind of sad.
Roscoe.
I would just find myself just kind of like trauma dumping, and I'm just like, this doesn't really like say anything about me as a person. So I wrote about my relationship with my hair and then how that's helped me like acquire the skills I have now, like leadership, organization, stuff like that. And I got to that because like when I think about like a big thing about myself, like it is like hair. Like I do hair. I like started like my own hair business and stuff.
And it was my friend's idea to start the page. And
my grandma used to do my hair. Like she'd do like different styles and stuff. And so I remember she would like do like an afro for me, and like my hair was like, this was like around 3rd grade. My hair was like really long, so it would kind of like hang a little bit in the afro. And I remember this one time we had like computer time, and a bunch of like boys had like, they just came to my table, like just kind of ganged up on me, and then turned the computers around, and it was like pictures of like broccoli or like trees and stuff, kind of being like, oh, like your hair looks like broccoli, or like your hair looks bad and stuff. And so like, it was always like, so I would go home and I'd tell my grandma what happened. Like she'd give me a new hairstyle. I'd come back and it'd be like, oh, like your hair looks like this. And so it was just kind of like going back and forth with my grandma. And I guess finally I was just like, they're never gonna like your hair. So it's just like, do what makes you happy. To stop, yeah. I'm like so afraid of dogs too. Like I already went through like the whole like being the only one, like the only person of color, the only black person. And it's like, it was hard enough, but then like thinking about like going to college where like I don't have my family, I don't have like my second community to fall back on. And I guess that's what I'm nervous about, like going, just feeling like so isolated, even though like I'm constantly around people.
He really did not. I didn't know when to do it. We like begged him.
I have like a lot more to like consider right now with like where I'm going to school, like what I'm writing about. Not that it's like easier for white students, but it's just like, it's less to think about.
I'm 17 years old, I go to Lincoln High School, and my mantra is, I will always be better than I was yesterday. The more I've like gotten into applying to colleges, and that was all after the Supreme Court case, the more I realized like this system is just not for me. I mean, I didn't even know what applying to college looked like because no one in my family has had access to that before. There's a lot more to affirmative action than just, you know, the extra point that people keep trying to, you know, say it is.
High schoolers, then you guys are going to fall into their group.
I would say I didn't even really understand my race very well until I joined Where's Bond and understood the power of like, you know, black excellence and being able to see black role models, being able to see biracial role models, just being able to put myself in spaces that I'd never seen myself.
This is like the double quarter pounder with cheese, black history. Like
My essay at first was about video games. I can't remember what it was, but it was basically about video games and how that was like one of the only constants in my life growing up, having so much change around me. And then basically after that decision came out, we were like, okay, look, we got to think really critically because getting into school is going to be even harder than it was before because we don't really know what we're getting into. It made me think, okay, I mean, I have to somehow include my race in here because I want to have my whole self considered, and I'm hoping that schools will see it and understand that I have not had access to the same things that a lot of like my white peers have had access to. Jalen, nice to meet you. I'm Max. So my essay changed from video games to a leadership trip I took with Bond DC. And it's still a really, I think both essays are pretty powerful. I don't have the first one, but the current one I used, I still think it's really powerful, but it just, like, it only says so much about me because I had to cram even more information in there. It felt true to myself, but the difference between that and like my other essay was the fact that it wasn't the truth that I necessarily wanted to share. Even with affirmative action, these schools are all still predominantly white institutions, so now that they're removing affirmative action, what are these schools even going to look like?